The Raiders back home in Allegiant. Can Geno Smith keep the offense rolling against the Giants? NFL Media's Judy Battista chimes in. And Raider Nation Radio's Kirk Morrison tells us how the Raiders defense can wreak havoc on rookie QB Jackson Dart. Plus, Devin White is setting records. We sit down with the Raiders linebacker. The Silver and Black Show starts now. Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome into the Silver and Black Show. I'm Theoharis. It's never too late to get it right, and the Raiders are heading into Sunday's matchup with the Giants with the confidence we really haven't seen since Week 1. Patrick Graham's run defense was dramatically better in Week 16, holding the Texans to just 83 yards on the ground. That's 1 week after the Eagles put 183 yards on them. And on offense, Ashton Jeanty had 188 total yards from scrimmage against the #1 defense in the NFL. That type of development is huge for the Raiders' future. But there are 2 games left, and next up, it is a struggling Giants team. And to talk about the matchup, we welcome in my good friend, NFL Media's Judy Battista. And Judy, happy holidays to you. It's good to see you.
Happy holidays. It's so great to see you again, Amber.
Well, I know it's a little warmer here in Vegas than it is there in New York, but Allegiant is indoors, so it doesn't matter either way. But let's talk about the matchup. Both of these teams have struggled. They're both on 9-game losing streaks. Nothing really sticks out about either one of the teams. What exactly are you going to be looking for in those first snaps?
Well, you just mentioned like you're sort of trying to get things right and sort of get things to build on going into next season. And I think the same thing is true for the Giants as is for the Raiders, right? You're sort of looking for little things that you can take away that are positive, and maybe you can take some momentum going into the offseason. I mean, obviously, the seasons have been really, really disappointing for both teams. I mean, what am I going to be looking at? Right out of the gate, I'm looking at, in the Giants case, I'm looking to see how Jackson Dart looks. He has not looked great in the last 3 games since he came back from his time off with a concussion, especially last week. He really looked out of sorts. That's not unusual when you're facing a Vikings defense by Brian Flores. He looked as uncertain as he has at any time since he became the starting quarterback. So I think I'm looking to see if Jackson Dart is more comfortable out there and sort of gets back into his groove and, his confidence and running a little bit, passing certainly more than he did against the Vikings. That's what I'm looking at for the Giants. But really for both teams, I'm just looking to see, can they come out of this game with something good to take with them?
Look, it's a kind of odd situation because all the players on the field want to win. They're competitors. But we all know whoever wins this game can win their way out of the #1 overall pick because both teams have 2 losses. So what makes that kind of a tricky situation, especially considering what you just said about you want to have momentum going into the offseason? Wins do that.
Right. I mean, let's be real. Like, coaches and players do not try to lose games because they are all playing and coaching for their futures too, whether it's with their current teams or what they're putting on tape for future employers. So players and coaches don't tank, but you know that there are people inside the building who are like, who are already looking ahead. And certainly I'm not saying that anybody is saying, lose the game on purpose, but I certainly think there's some mixed emotions. There's certainly mixed emotions among the fan bases as you come down to the wire like this and you're looking at potentially the #1 overall draft pick. It's a tricky situation, though, because, again, for the players and the coaches who are in this game, I mean, they have their own careers on the line. They don't want to be embarrassed. It's a failure for them to have the first overall draft pick. And so I think it's a tough balancing act. First of all, whoever has the #1, somebody will get the #2, and that's not so bad either. But there's no question it's tough. I think I know the way most of the fan base feels, at least in New York. The fan base wants them to get the #1 draft pick. But you certainly can never expect that the players would want that.
It means a lot this year, too, because of the lack of depth at the quarterback position coming out of college. There's kind of Mendoza, and then there's a big gap. And I think that's why if you need a quarterback, it is really important this year in particular to get that #1 pick. But they have Geno Smith here in Las Vegas, and you've covered Pete Carroll for a long time. He's been very loyal to Geno Smith when a lot of people maybe were calling for a change. And now he says that Geno will start the last couple of games. He'll be there the rest of the year. What do you think that means for his future with the Raiders? Because he is under contract.
He is under contract. They have big decisions to make. I mean, listen, the whole organization has big decisions to make going forward. Obviously, this has not worked out the way anybody imagined. I think we all thought when they hired Pete, and then when Pete brought Geno along, that you were at least looking for, I'm not saying, a deep run into the playoffs, but you certainly thought they would be able to turn the ship somewhat this year, and it just hasn't happened. I mean, it's gone, it's been really bad and sometimes even non-competitive. So they have huge decisions, at the very top of the organization. They have to make decisions on the future of like practically everybody in the building, and certainly Geno is one of them. It has not worked out. He's gotten sacked a lot. Like he's thrown a lot of interceptions. It just hasn't been anywhere near what we thought it was going to be or what it was with him in Seattle. I remember when Seattle jettisoned him and he came to the Raiders, I thought the results were going to be flipped, right? And it just hasn't worked out that way. So I would say all possibilities are on the table, and that goes, all the way up, all the way up the chain.
On the other side, you did mention Jackson Dart, and they're trying to get him back on track, but it feels like they've seen enough that that's their guy going forward. He can run, he can use his legs. How does the Raiders defense try to contain him?
Well, he's been contained the last few weeks. I think they, he has not been running as much. They have not done as many designed runs for Jackson Dart since he came back from the concussion. One of the big concerns overall about him is he's got to learn to protect himself. He was getting hit a lot. He's been checked for concussions just like constantly. It's obviously frustrating to him how often they are checking him, but the Giants want him to learn to protect himself more. So they are not doing the designed runs for him, which certainly helps any opponent. You don't have to worry about that so much. Listen, I think you have to be aware that he can take off if he has to, but it has been different the last few weeks. He's certainly not running. And so I don't think that that's as much of a threat that the Raiders have to worry about. And again, he looked, at least last week against the Vikings, he looked really unsettled and reluctant to throw the ball. He didn't have that many attempts. He wasn't throwing the ball much. So frankly, I think the Raiders just need to do what they do. And see how Jackson Dart is, because he has been out of sorts the last few weeks. And, I think the Raiders just might be the beneficiaries of that.
On the other side of the ball for the Giants, they have some huge names on the defensive line. And when you look up their stats, they're kind of like a middle of the pack defense when it comes to sacks. And you would expect a little bit more from them. But how does the matchup shape up? You mentioned that the Raiders' offensive line and the sacks they've given up. How do you think that matchup with the D-line for the Giants and the O-line for the Raiders goes?
Yeah, listen, if the Giants don't get a bunch of sacks this week, you're really going to say, like, man, what are all, as you said, like, what are all these big names doing? Why aren't they generating more sacks? Abdul Carter, the rookie, the first-round draft pick, seems to have come to life a little bit more in the last few weeks. So that's been good. He was getting lots of pressures early in the season, getting pressure, but not getting home. And in the last few games, he's gotten home a little bit more. So maybe he's getting unlocked. Brian Burns has been terrific all season. Credit to him. He's had a terrific season when basically everything around him has been terrible. So credit to him for that. Dexter Lawrence has been quieter this year than you would expect, an all-pro to be. But again, this is a tough matchup. That should be on paper a tough matchup for the Raiders because they have had a tremendously difficult time protecting Geno. So a lot of sacks. He's taken a beating. They're struggling to protect him. So certainly the Giants look at that as an opportunity to get to the quarterback. And get a little bit of momentum going for the defense. It's obviously far too late in the season, but again, that's the sort of positive thing that a team would like to take with them into the postseason, into the offseason, rather.
I'll tell you, there's no postseason for either of these teams.
There's no postseason.
Yeah, we know
Right.
that. The offensive line for the Raiders, though, to give them credit, Ashton Genty had a huge game against the Texans.
Yes.
And then the Giants, they have the second worst run defense in the NFL right now.
Yes.
So what have you seen from Ashton Genty this year?
That was really encouraging to see. When you talk about positives you can take into the offseason, that is number one on the list for the Raiders, right? That was great to see him get going, because we didn't see that early in the season. I think we all thought he was going to be, a Rookie of the Year candidate. He's such an exciting player, and it just hasn't come together this year. Certainly not only his fault. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I think seeing him sort of break out last week was a really good sign, and something for the Raiders to build on. And that is a big challenge for the Giants, because, as you said, their defense as a whole, but their run defense has been really porous this season. So that is, that's going to be number one. They always say, what's the key for the defense? And they always say, well, the first thing you have to do is stop the run. No, really, you've got to stop.
Really have to do it this week. The last one.
You really need to do it.
Well, yeah, let's put your coaching hat on. You are Pete Carroll. If you're game planning against the Giants, what is the number one area you're attacking on the Giants? Is it the run defense? Is it you run right at them?
I think so. Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think you try to. I think that is their weakness and has been their Achilles heel all season. And I think you go right at them. And again, you try to build on the momentum you got from last week from Genty. You try to build on that. He presumably has a lot of confidence coming into this game. If I would do that, if I were them, I would certainly try that first. And there's the running game. If you get the running game going, you're shortening the game. You keep Jackson Dart off the field, and that's probably something they want to do.
All right, Judy, it's good to catch up with you. Good to see you. See your name on the sheet today. Yeah, always good to pick your brain there. I know how long you've covered the Giants. All right, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays.
All right, thanks, Judy. Coming up, Raiders linebacker Devin White stops by the set. That's next on the Silver and Black Show.
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go, to where we go, to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
How about Totally Obsessed? We created a cocktail that requires 7 unique ingredients. The most important one? 1800 tequila. Just as obsessed with taste and quality as we are. The world's most awarded tequila, proudly poured at the world's best bar.
At Cox, we're always a step ahead. There you go. I'll show you. Like, before your basement became Movie Central, we made sure you'd have strong Wi-Fi, even down here. And you can rest easy knowing the price of your plan won't go up for 3 years. Guaranteed. See? He's looking out for you, and so are we, with advanced security that blocks threats on your network. Good boy. Whatever the future brings, Cox will keep you a step ahead. Oh.
From the fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, what a amazing!
The Silver and Black Show is brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights, only at Allegiant.com. Victory Live, connecting the world of live experiences. and by 1800 Tequila, official partner of the Raiders. Taste is everything. Please drink responsibly.
Middle, they came down. Devin White, fourth down stop. Over there as they run it left side. Barkley spun into Devin White, and they rip him to the turf back at the 29-yard line.
When I turn on the tape every Sunday, he's playing with his hair on fire.
Well, I'll tell you, if you need somebody to tackle, Devin White is your guy. We're hanging out with Devin White. It's good to see you again.
It's wonderful to see you as well.
Well, I'll tell you, my colleague James Jones says that you can learn a lot about the energy and effort that a team that's no longer in the playoff hunt puts forth. And we really saw that with you guys. What did we learn from your defense with just the amount of effort they put forth?
I feel like we just want to keep getting better, keep improving. You know, we was playing so good at a spurt, and then we played some big games and we played good in them. Then some games we didn't play good in it, and we just challenged ourselves on the consistency of playing good ball. Like, no matter what cards we dealt, no matter where they put the ball down, told everybody, but we get paid to go out and tackle and take the ball away from the other team. So anytime we get an opportunity to do it, let's just be on our stuff one play at a time.
Yep, called being a professional, right?
Oh, man.
Well, was there anything different in practice or changes, especially to the game plan leading up to that game that we saw? I mean, it was dramatic results, difference.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, when you play a team like that and they known for their defense, you want to match the intensity of their defense. Like, hey, if we go out and we stall, do what we got to do against their offense, we'll look alive. We'll kind of put them in a spot they probably never been in. If they can stop our offense, which our offense got it going and was able to put up points, and we were stopping their offense as well. So we put them in a tough position and made them have to play a little bit harder than probably what they normally did. And I mean, that's just to show you, like, we just right there, we just 1-2 plays away. That game, we had them right where we wanted them at. A lot of third down situations, a couple penalties didn't go our way or whatnot, but it's just to show you we could do it.
I'm glad that you mentioned the offense. They also played much better. How did they put you in a better position as a defense in that game?
I mean, when you score points and you get a lead, you make the opposing team have to attack you. And when they attack you, we can go at them rather than letting them get in 4 minutes and run the ball, and just try to run the clock off because they playing with a lead. So it kind of changes the stuff we can do on defense when we kind of either in the game or playing with a lead.
Well, it's a big difference in time of possession
when
the Raiders offense only has the ball for 20 minutes versus a little over 30. I mean, it's huge. You guys actually get a breather if they can sustain the drives. Look, this is your first season in the silver and black, and you've already set a franchise record for tackles, and we still have 2 games to go. What has the move here to Vegas kind of done for your career to resurrect it?
I don't know, just first off, that's a blessing. I didn't know nothing about it. I just was getting ready for the game, and they was like, hey, do not get his jersey away, because if you get so-and-so, then this mean this. And I was like, dang, all right, that's pretty cool, but all right, we're finna go win this game. Like, that's kind of was my mindset. But just being here, they gave me an opportunity, and I just like it here. Everything's so beautiful, so new, and man, I'm just kind of blessed to be a part of something that I know it could be really, really special with the blink of an eye. You just make a couple changes and do a couple things different, and now we could be talking about the black and silver in a different light. And this town needs it, this city needs it, and this organization needs it, and we right there, and I think that's why we're trying to just show who we really can be ending the season to building something. And don't know if I'll be here or not, but I want to be a part of, like, showing them what it can be, and my effort and just showing my grace every time I step out there with those colors on.
Yeah, NFL insider Ian Rappaport said that you should be considered for Comeback Player of the Year. Now, when you hear something like that, are you like, okay, that's a compliment, but also like, I never win anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, you take it with a grain of salt. I think the biggest part is just your work being acknowledged.
Yeah.
I didn't play ball last year, so for me to just be sitting on the sidelines last year and come back and put up this many tackles, TFLs, the stuff I'm doing, it's not easy to do, because if it was, a lot of people that's tweeting about it and mad and saying this or whatever, they'll be doing it. Yeah, it's not easy. You got to put in a lot of work. And even mentally, like, when you losing and stuff, like, it's hard. Like, my thing, I try to find ways to keep getting better, keep pushing the team, keep pushing myself. Because like you said, people say we're not playing for nothing, but we're playing for everything.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't make it to the NFL, so I never take a moment for granted, because you see guys like get hurt in the end of the season, and it's like, dang, like they probably didn't know that was gonna be their last play, or they'll be out for this. So I take every play with pride. Like I go out there with pride, and I just try to go help my team.
How has Patrick Graham put you in a position to be able to do all those things?
I think he's making me very versatile. I play all over the board. A lot of people probably don't notice that. Like I go from Mike to Will. Sometimes I got to get on the line and play outside backer. We play dime coverage with a bunch of DBs. I'm the only linebacker in. So I got to learn a variety of things, but that's something that I was willing to do. He told me early, like, that's what I was going to have to do. And I was like, hey, I want it. Put it all on my plate. The goal is to eat, put it all on my plate. And I think I've been handling it well, and just kind of finding my niche with it, being able to just go to any position, because we're trying to get other guys on the field, and I don't have to come off. I can just move to another position and just keep rolling. I think that's good, and that just shows you how much that he trusts in me and the type of work that we put in to be able to do that, because a lot of guys can't do that.
That's true. Versatility always keeps you employed, too. That's what they say. Your defense held off a playoff caliber offense and C.J. Stroud and the Texans. They've been scoring 25 points a game in their winning streak. So what does that do to a defense as far as confidence going into the last couple of games?
I think you just gotta take that game, throw it out, but rise to the next occasion. I think the first thing we did was point out what we did wrong to not really dominate the game, and let's focus on that. Because if we got the other things right, if we fix that, we can probably go beat this team or beat this team, and that's what it's all about. It's all about winning, and just being sound. Nobody trying to do it on their own, just playing as a unit and communicating and just finishing the season strong, man, because it's been rough, man. It's been a lot of games that we've been in, and teams with really good teams, and I think about it all the time. Maybe if we just did this or did that, and maybe the record will be different, but you can't dwell on it. But obviously that we could play some good ball, but we got to be playing good ball consistent.
It makes you realize in this league, it really is a game of inches.
Oh, yeah.
It's a saying, but it's true.
We could have beat the Bears if we made the field goal.
And the Broncos. And
we didn't make the field goal, and now they one of the best teams in the league. So what does that say about us? And I know that ain't how you kind of categorize yourself, but we went against a team like that. We was in the fight with a team like that. We had an opportunity to win the game. And the same with the Broncos, another great team, and we played good ball against them. So, I mean, you don't want to just be the Grinch around here. You kind of want to look at the positives, too, and how you can build and gain off of it.
Now you got Jackson Dart, the young guy. He's making some noise.
Yeah.
He's worth noticing. What do you see from him on film?
I just see a relentless competitor. A guy that just young and just having fun and just want to will his team to victory, willing to put his body on the line, and I feel like they helping him out with the run game over there as well, which you should always do for your rookie quarterback. But guy that's just playing relentless, man. So I'm excited to play him. Hope I get to meet him.
You talk about the run, hopefully up close though, right? Like this close when you're sacked him. Okay, yeah. That's how you get to meet him. The run defense really did do a 180 last week. You guys did a great job against the Texans. What makes the Giants' run game? Cam Skadaboo's out, but they still are a top 10 rushing team. What makes them kind of sneaky good?
The quarterback runs the ball,
because he does
so that helps
it, yeah.
as well. When you get that, that 11th guy rushing the ball, you get 10 blockers. But also, they just stay committed to it. If a team just stay committed and they run the ball 30, 40 times, something going to pop eventually, and they'll get some yards. But I mean, that's on us to go stop them. So we'll have certain personnel to be able to stop their run game and lock in on our cues and try to keep them down, so we can win the game. So it won't be a good rushing week for them this week. We're gonna lock in, and it starts obviously today in practice.
It's going to be fun to be home at Allegiant, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be nice. What does success look like for the Raiders' defense over the last two games? How do you want to finish, and what do you want to take away from that?
I think success for the Raiders' defense over the next two games just look like just playing one play at a time, but playing with a lot of energy and a lot of passion. Being able to show the higher-ups here, like who wants to be here, and try to fight for a spot to be able to be brought back here next year and build on this first year experience. I think that's what success look like, and hopefully I could punch my ticket in to being one of the guys that being able to be brought back here, because it's been a challenging year, but a great year. Like, I learned so much about myself and about just this wonderful place, the history and everything. So I think we talk about breaking records. I think it's more to it than that. Like, I can get a lot more out this organization than just that, you know, and I'm talking about wins.
That's true. And something tells me if you want to be here, you probably have one of the
yeah.
options. Something tells me that after breaking the team tackle record.
I play hard enough, so.
That's right. No
we'll
doubt
see.
about it. It's been fun to watch you. Thanks for being here, Devin.
I
and
appreciate
Merry
you.
Christmas. Are you going to get a horse or anything? You like horses? A new one?
I bought some horses like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, that was your Christmas
We
present.
gonna chill on the horses. I did order myself a new horse trailer, living quarters.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to hear about it. This is going to be on Raiders.com. Coming up, can the Raiders defense continue to shut down the run? Raider Nation Radio's Kirk Morrison tells us how next.
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go to where we go to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
How about totally obsessed? We created a cocktail that requires 7 unique ingredients. The most important one? 1800 tequila. Just as obsessed with taste and quality as we are. The world's most awarded tequila, proudly poured at the world's best bar.
At Cox, we're always a step ahead. There you go. I'll show you. Like, before your basement became Movie Central, we made sure you'd have strong Wi-Fi, even down here. And you can rest easy knowing the price of your plan won't go up for 3 years. Guaranteed. See? He's looking out for you, and so are we, with advanced security that blocks threats on your network. Good boy. Whatever the future brings, Cox will keep you a step ahead. Oh.
A lot more than you think is on the line when the Raiders welcome the Giants this Sunday at Allegiant Stadium, and to break down the matchup and much more, let's bring in Raider Nation Radio's Kirk Morrison. Kirk, welcome in. Merry Christmas to you. How you doing?
Merry Christmas, Amber. Great to be with you. What's going on?
Well, you know, before we look at the matchup, here's what's going on. I mean, Max Crosby and Brock Bowers are Pro Bowlers. So what have you seen from this season that Raiders fans should really be proud of?
I think for Max Crosby, just the relentless, aggressive play that he's always had. And I think to be, voted to the Pro Bowl as a starter, to me, that's just shows you how much he's respected by not only players, coaches, and fans, but he leads the league in tackles for loss. He's had an exceptional year, and it's not hard to find number 98 week in and week out playing at the highest level. And I think that is very, very well deserved for Max Crosby. And on the opposite side, Brock Bowers, let's be real. Here's a guy that was banged up throughout most of the year, but still was able to have a fantastic season. And again, one of the most respected guys in the league for such a guy who's only in second year in the NFL. That shows a lot because they could have voted different players, different guys at that position, but he's still been one of the best at his position, even with the injury and kind of missing games and not playing at 100%, but still was one of the best in the league. So good recognition for two Raiders.
The Raiders looked pretty good last week. They looked more complete than we'd seen them in a month. What do you think from that performance they need to take into the Giants game?
I think for the most part, when you look at the way that they ran the football and they really made an emphasis on getting Ashton Genty the football. I've been clamoring for it all year, Amber, man. He needs 20 to 25 touches a game. And if he gets to 25, I really feel comfortable with where the offense is. And I thought that's what helped him out against the Houston Texans. He ran the ball with some dirty runs early, which is, 3-4 yard gains. And then all of a sudden, he pops one here for 10, or he pops one here for 7 and 8. And it really started to add up. And then to utilize his strengths, and I think in his pass catching ability, which I want to see more of, man. He made an outstanding catch and, ran it in for a touchdown. So that's something I think you can carry over. I think also what the carryover looks like is more what they did defensively. I mean, they held Nico Collins, a Pro Bowl wide receiver, to really just 4 catches. And I know he made one, that 4th catch was one that kind of sealed the game. But for the most part, I thought this Raider defense did a tremendous job. Multiple guys pressuring and making C.J. Stroud uncomfortable. The linebacking core, shout out to Devin White, the new single season record holder for most tackles in silver and black in Raider history. So shout out to him. But I just thought it was a conscious effort and guys buying into what Pete Carroll and his coaching staff has been preaching. It really gave us glimpses of what we thought the season was going to look like in the whole, but it was great to see how well they played and can they carry it over into these final 2 games of the home stretch.
Yeah, we just talked about this with Devin White. He was on the show before you. That run defense, they were giving up 150 yards a game for like 3 games, and then they turn around and all of a sudden hold the Texans to just 83. How are they going to sustain that against the Giants, who actually have a top 10 rushing attack?
Yeah, I think it's just guys being in their spot. I think there was some frustration that built up the previous week in Philadelphia. And you saw guys, yelling on the sideline and, having some uncomfortable conversations. And when you're a team that kind of sits back and you're like, man, what are we going to finish? How are we going to look? And, you look at your record, you sit at 2-13, but guys are going to say, look, I don't know about you, but I know the effort that I'm going to bring. I know that I'm going to be in the spot that I need to be in. And if you don't care about our team, then get out of here. It seemed like a lot of guys looked themselves in the mirror and looked at each other in the mirror. And really we saw an effort that, we had seen and at times throughout the season, but we didn't see that consistent, disciplined effort that I saw on Sunday versus the Texans. They were really stout. Everybody was making plays, and it didn't matter if it was just Max, man. It was everybody had their hand in it. All the linebackers, all the safeties and corners. One of the best team efforts. And so I think that what it feels like when you do things right, Amber, to a point where I'm going to do that again next week. Like I want to do it again next week because you were so close to getting that victory. And maybe this is the week that you get it done against the Giants.
Judy Battista mentioned that the Giants haven't asked Jackson Dart to run a lot since his concussion and the other injuries.
Right.
And as a defender, if you're Max Crosby or you're Devin White, you're a linebacker, Kirk. How does that really play to your advantage?
Well, you want a stationary quarterback. When there's no threat of quarterback run, you can call different defenses. And I think that's where the Raiders, trust me, they would love to be in that because they play a lot of zone. They're not a ton of blitzing when it comes to this Raiders football team. So if you're going to have a stationary quarterback, you're going to be able to rush 4 and be able to drop 7 guys in the coverage. Where there's that, if he's going to be a runner, you have to have someone designated to be the spy or keep an eye on him. The National Football League has some fast guys, some big guys, and Jackson Dart is learning early on that, look, I can't do the things that I did in high school and college because these guys will hurt me. And he is a quarterback who was a runner, and I think he's starting to hear that, especially, I'm a big fan of Hard Knocks, and I'm watching the Hard Knocks, the NFC East in this final month of the season, Amber. And when you start to hear other coaches' game plans for you is like, hey, he's a running back. Like, I think for him, he's finally starting to hear that because that's how teams play him. Is that he's a running back who happens to play quarterback, but once he comes out of the pocket, we treat him like a running back and you tattoo him. I think he knows that he wants to preserve his career. He's going to have to make sure he stays in the pocket or slide or get out of bounds or something. But I think it's to advantage Raiders if he's going to stand in the pocket as long as he can.
Yeah, I'll tell you, him and Cam Scatterbo got to learn how to play a little bit differently. You love their intensity, but you just see that it won't be a long career unless they learn how to tone it down a bit. I've got to ask you about Darian Porter. A lot of eyes on him. We've seen some good. We've seen some learning opportunities, especially in the last game. What have you seen these last few games from the young corner?
I just like that he doesn't blink, right? Like he's not unafraid. Like he's going out there and he's battling. I mean, he had Nico Collins this week. The week prior, it's AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. You know what I mean? It's like Cortland Sutton with the Denver Broncos. Like, welcome to the league, Rook. There is no weeks off. And one thing I said is that he has not blinked. He has not stuttered. He has not done anything. He said, you know what? I'm going to continue to battle. And you can see the learning process in which he's going through of how different he has to defense a lot of these guys. Like Cortland Sutton was a bigger guy, and you could see him really getting his hands on them and being physical. And Devontae Smith's a smaller guy, so he's got to play a little more off and a little more space and utilize his quickness and length on guys like that. And then AJ Brown was more of a bigger receiver, so you got to be a little more stout. And I thought a good performance by him was this past weekend against Nico Collins. Again, they held Nico Collins to 4 catches between he and Eric Stokes. He realizes that he's the young guy. They're going to continue to go at him, but he is not backing down. And I think that's what I'll just continue to watch each week with his progression, is that he's learning where the spots are for him to not only be able to play on, to play off, but take some chances. I think that's the bigger part. He's learning right in front of our eyes, and I think he's doing a tremendous job. Will he be better? Absolutely, but he's getting some valuable reps, and it took him about a half a season, but he's really starting to I think, make that jump in his rookie year.
Let's switch over to the offense. I know Pete Carroll said that Greg Olsen came up with a plan against, top Texans defense that, I think the quote was, allowed us to play free. What was it about Ashton Jeanty? What opportunity did they give to Ashton Jeanty as far as play calls that allowed him to have a big game against such a good defense when we hadn't seen that in a while?
Yeah. Well, look, I'm a big fan of when Ashton Jeanty is behind the quarterback and behind center. When he's in that alignment, I always feel like he's at his best because he guts downhill with his shoulder square, and it gives him an opportunity to go left, to go right, to go vertical, to go horizontal. He can do all of that. Sometimes I feel like when you're in the shotgun, it kind of limits him to can only run to the hole that's there for him, and it doesn't give him the ability to be creative. I saw him create holes this week. Like, he created holes versus the Houston Texans because it was like, my shoulders are square. I'm going to get a couple of 2 or 3 dirty yards, but then I'm going to keep my feet moving. And that's how you saw those short runs end up becoming long runs. And I think it's just the stubbornness of the offense of force feeding Ashton Jeanty. You're toward the end of the season now. He's really holding up. He's getting closer to that 1,000-yard mark. I want to see that happen over the next couple of games. I think that'll be an amazing feat, but it's about him really just getting the football more and more. And I thought there was a lot of opportunities for that, handing it to him, but also out of the backfield. So I hope that that's what we see more of. And I thought that was a good game plan from Greg Olsen. Just want to see a little bit more of it. None of those pitch plays on 3rd and short. I think Ashton Jeanty needs to get downhill, man, because that's where he's at his best.
No doubt about it. Geno Smith gets the final 2 starts. Pete said that. So what does he need to show us to inspire confidence heading into next season?
Well, just continue to show that, look, he can be the guy. And when I say the guy is that add more pieces around him. I think that this skill position group is left to be, I guess, wanting more. And that's what I think the offseason is going to look like. And then it just depends on, honestly, where does this organization directionally goes in terms of either keeping Geno or him either bring a big bridge quarterback. These are all questions for the offseason. But I think, Amber, a lot of it comes with the receivers around him and Tyler Lockett and Trey Tucker and Jack Besh. I mean, seeing these guys, continuously get the football. I was excited to watch Jack Besh make a big catch, or Tyler Lockett keep the chains moving, and Trey Tucker getting the ball in his hands. So a lot of that is because Geno Smith was very direct in his throws. I thought he looked very confident in his throws, and maybe it's just he has a rapport with Greg Olsen. Didn't like the interception, and that's what then this season's all about. And someone asked me, what didn't you like about Geno Smith? Is that he turned the ball over too many times. But I don't know if that's a product of Geno, a product of an offensive line that has been banged up all year long, a product of not maybe force feeding the run. all of that was different last week because of play action. The offensive line held up, and I thought Greg Olsen helped move the pocket a little bit. So that's what I want to see from Geno Smith, is just an improvement from week to week. We'll have the evaluation at the end of the year, Amber, on that quarterback position. But if we're going to look at the last couple of games, let's focus on where I think he can be better, because I feel like the team coming off of a hard-fought loss to the Texans may be playing a lot better than what we saw in the middle of the season.
When you're looking at this game, what's going to be the tone setter for the Raiders early on?
I would love to see a special team score, man. I would love to see special teams kind of do something. That's really, think about it. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And, you've changed, special teams coordinators now. Swinton takes over, obviously, earlier for McMahon. But, we've seen, Carlson has struggled a little bit this year. We haven't had that explosive kickoff return or kickoff. That's something that I want to see kind of set the tone a little bit. I feel like the Raiders have had more special teams woes this year than actually been sort of the advantage, like, for this team. Right. So that's what I hope that can happen this week, is that you're booting some good field goals through, you're making plays in the punt game, punt return, just any way to help out the team. I would love to see some complementary team play. And it starts really with the special teams group that can be a lot better than what we've seen in, I think, the early parts of the season.
No doubt about it, Kirk. We look forward to your call on Raider Nation Radio. It's going to be live from Allegiant Stadium on Sunday. Good to see you. Enjoy Christmas.
You too, man. Merry Christmas, Amber. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot. Coming up, why we need to be careful when wishing for the #1 overall pick. Next on the Silver and Black Show.
From the fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, what amazing!
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go to where we go to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
At Cox, we're always a step ahead. There you go. I'll show you. Like, before your basement became Movie Central, we made sure you'd have strong Wi-Fi, even down here. And you can rest easy knowing the price of your plan won't go up for 3 years. Guaranteed. See? He's looking out for you, and so are we, with advanced security that blocks threats on your network. Good boy. Whatever the future brings, Cox will keep you a step ahead. Oh.
The Silver and Black Show has been brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights, only at Allegiant.com. And by Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Las Vegas Raiders and the NFL. Time now for one last thing. The Raiders' chances of getting the first pick in the 2026 draft dramatically increase if they lose their last 2 games. Right now, the Raiders and the Giants are the only 2-win teams in the NFL. So, of course, their head-to-head matchup this Sunday means one will have 3 wins and the other is in prime position for the number 1 pick. According to the Athletic Season Simulator, a win on Sunday puts the Raiders at just a 4% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick, but a loss puts them at 60%. So this feels like a bit of a pickle for a franchise whose motto is just win, baby. But for those of you who might be hoping the Raiders lose out just to get the number 1 overall pick, let me remind you, the first pick in the draft does not guarantee you a generational player. Look at some of the recent drafts. 2021, Trevor Lawrence went number 1 overall, and he's had a decent career. But all pros Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell, Pat Surtain II, and Micah Parsons were taken after him. 2022, Trayvon Walker was taken first in the draft. Right after was Aiden Hutchinson, Derek Stingley Jr., and Sauce Gardner. Nobody would still take Walker ahead of them. 2023, Bryce Young was the number 1 pick, C.J. Stroud number 2, and Stroud took his team to the playoffs in year 1. The only number 1 overall pick in the last few years that looks pretty good early on is Caleb Williams, who, of course, is quarterbacking the Bears right now. So the number 1 draft pick isn't a sure shot, and you have to balance that against what winning at the end of a season can do for a young team heading into next year. That'll do it for us. It's Raiders Giants from Allegiant Stadium. Kickoff set for 1:05 p.m. Pacific. Happy holidays, everybody. Enjoy the weekend.